We're in Salem at the Oregon State Fair, celebrating its 148th year with more than 9,000 exhibits. Well, if you've been out to your mailbox lately, you get your power bill. Does it seem to go up and up? Well, there are reasons for this, and for answers, we welcome Susan Ackerman to Comcast Newsmakers. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
You're the Commissioner of the Oregon Public Utility Commission. First of all, what is a Public Utility Commission?
We are the agency that's charged with, by Oregon law, with setting rates and enforcing service quality standards by certain utilities in the state. The states we regulate, the companies that we regulate are the for-profit utilities. They'd be investor-owned electric and natural gas utilities like Portland General or Northwest Natural, plus phone companies and even about 80 small water utilities. So we've got a pretty broad scope. We also will go to bat for consumers when they have disputes with their utilities and try to help them resolve those disputes. So there's actually 3 commissioners. I'm only one of 3 appointed by the governor. The most important aspect of the agency, though, are the 120 employees that go to work every day for energy consumers and phone consumers and water consumers in the state.
Now, what are the factors that are considered in raising power bills? Your natural gas, your electricity. Does it just seem like it's going up and up, or is it going up?
No,
and
it's
up?
actually going up and up. I mean, individual rates are going up, and the reason for that is that utilities have to make sure they actually have the resources available to meet the needs of consumers as they grow. In fact, it's one of the big challenges in the electric industry these days. They do resource planning, which is a way of looking at customer needs into the future and deciding what resources are available to meet those needs, whether that's wind, wave power, natural gas-fired generation, whatever. And that resource planning is a way for them to systematically look at the resources and decide what are the best choices. And once they've identified what are the best choices, they actually have to make investments in those resources. And those are huge investments. I mean, they're multi-hundred-million-dollar projects sometimes. And if they're made to serve customers and they serve customers, the costs of those investments ultimately go into rates. And so that's what causes bills to go up.
You mentioned wind power, you mentioned wave power. I want you to talk a little bit about those, but what is the future of energy here in Oregon? Are those two viable?
Oh, they're very viable. Wind in particular is very viable in this state. There's, I think, about 4,000 megawatts of rated capacity wind interconnected to the Bonneville transmission system grid. There are some experiments with wind with wave power going on off the coast right now. But wind is very viable. It's got its issues because it's what we call intermittent. When the wind isn't blowing, it's not generating electricity, so there have to be other resources made available to back up the wind generation when it's not there. But so far the system is handling it pretty well, and it'll be here for the long term. Wind will be.
We hear nuclear power is making a comeback in many states. How is Oregon, and what's our stance on nuclear power here?
Well, I think the Oregon Constitution actually bans the use of or the building of new nuclear power plants in the state of Oregon until we figure out what the waste disposal issue is going to be. And as you know, recently the Obama administration decided to take Yucca Mountain off the table. So I don't think we're going to have nuclear power in Oregon for some time. That said, there's some really good research going on at the Oregon State University right now into small-scale nuclear development. It's getting a lot of attention nationally, and because it's a carbon-free resource, it's not one that you can rule out forever. But for now, in Oregon, no nukes.
Biggest challenges PUC faces right now?
Well, you know, I've already touched on them. I think the biggest challenges are in the electric utility world, those huge investments that they're making to serve load. The challenges for the utilities are making the right decisions in light of climate uncertainties and the prospect of greenhouse gas regulation, for example. Our challenge is when those costs start flowing into rates, consumers' bills go up, and they don't like that, and that's perfectly understandable. Our job is to actually just to make sure that the utilities are making the right choices at the very best possible price that they can make them.
All right, and Susan Ackerman, thank you very much for joining us on Comcast Newsmakers. One question I was remiss in asking, Mom wants to know what time you're coming home for dinner. Susan Ackerman joining us, who is the Commissioner of the Oregon Public Utility Commission. We're here at the Oregon State Fair. More than 375,000 people will come through these gates in 11 days. We hope you're one of them. Make it a great day, everyone. For the crew here, I'm Ken Ackerman. Take care.